Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I got a big smile on my face because I love what is happening, guys. We have more accountability than ever before. Trump is issuing new spending bill demands with government shutdown looming. Guys, it's literally happening as we speak. I'm going to be watching for breaking news as it comes, but I got a ton of breaking news for you today. We also have it where Rand Paul is now suggesting that Mike Johnson be replaced with Elon Musk as the Speaker of the House. Are you kidding me? This is awesome, guys. The guy that is literally single-handedly holding the entire Congress in check, and now his name is being thrown around for Speaker of the House. Guys, this is so much breaking news. It's amazing that Trump and Elon said we're not going back. They literally said this is the new republic. No more going back to wasteful spending. No accountability with Congress until now. Trump has even come out and said, and I quote, Mike Johnson's handling of the spending bill was unacceptable. So we are getting a new bill, multiple bills, but it's looking like it's going to close and shut down the government based upon what we're seeing so far, because they cannot get things through, things written in time for everybody to agree. But I got some, guys, what you're about to hear next is insane. The Republicans actually agreed to a deal that Mike Johnson signed off on that would allow for the government to continue to, in a sense, fully censor people on certain platforms like Facebook and Instagram and through other using government agencies. I mean, like, who the heck thought this was a good idea? We also now know that Mike Johnson was actually dealing with Democrats and making deals with them without even consulting with Republicans. It was just thrown in their lap. And now we also have it where a huge breaking news today, Fani Willis, who was in charge of one of the Trump election cases in Georgia, has now been officially fully disqualified from the case. The case was suspended indefinitely, but now the case is dead. The appellate court said that because of Fani's conduct, her having relations with the top prosecutor, her and the money issues, she's 100% out. And they said that the case is officially done. We also have where Jim Jordan has released, I mean, guys, if this isn't bombshell, I don't know what is. Chuck Schumer, he has released videos of Chuck Schumer speaking with the National Guard on January 6th and telling them to stand down. Trump was trying to make sure the Capitol was safe, and Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer were literally going behind his back and telling everything that he wanted, telling them to stand down. That's huge bombshell news. And we also have reports coming out that the White House, guys, this is huge leaks. This is a big day. More reports are coming out that the White House took steps to conceal Biden's decline, limiting interactions, putting senior advisors in roles that some administration officials believe that Biden should have occupied. So we got a ton of breaking news today, guys. We're going to get right into it, but I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Guys, it's free, and if you don't mind, hit the thumbs up like button. It really does help out. Today is going to be an insane show today, guys. I want to say thank you to all of our members of the channel. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. And thank you to everybody that gives a super chat donation. Mr. Norby already starting it off today. Big time. Let's go. Said the administration needs to all be in jail. The border issue are so bad. Get this. Aurora City has really been under siege by South American gang members holding hostage and torturing our people. 19 members arrested. Let's go. Getting things in check. Y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat. Guys, I love it. We are seeing accountability like never before. Check this out.
Former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, joins you now. Speaker, you balanced the budget. Why can't you get on the phone and call Speaker Johnson and just tell him what to do? Because this is crazy, and it has to stop.
Well, look, I think, first of all, the whole idea of the DOGE committee has already paid for itself by having Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy come out and begin to point out all the dumb things in this bill. The obvious answer is kill this bill, pass a very short continuing resolution to get the new Republican Senate installed, and negotiate a new bill before January 20th that covers the rest of the year and gets the job done. But it also, I would just say, two things that'll be sort of, I think, radical for Washington. One, when you negotiate with Democrats, they're going to put stupid things in the bill.
Ooh.
So there's a big disadvantage every time you let them help write the bill, because everybody on your side is going to think the bill's stupid. Second, we closed the government several times while I was Speaker. We would not have gotten to a balanced budget if we had not had the guts to go to the mat and say, no, we're not going to do dumb things, which was a great shock to Bill Clinton and a great shock to the Democrats. But the country thought, you know, it's good not to do dumb things. So I would hope that Republicans in the House and Senate will take seriously the warnings of President Trump and of Vivek Ramaswamy and of Elon Musk. Look at the bill, realize this bill is stupid.
And why is it stupid? Why are Republicans negotiating with Democrats? I thought Republicans had the House. Can't they put whatever they want in it and just kick it up to Schumer?
They have the House, but they have a House by the really narrow margin. And the truth is, a bunch of the guys who are complaining will never vote yes. I mean, if Mike Johnson, you know, there are probably 15 Republicans who wake up every morning and say, I know I'm going to vote no, what's the issue? Now, I think if those would line up with Johnson and say, we will vote for a very tough CR and mean it, I think you could pass something that was quite strong.
So are you saying it's all these like Freedom Caucus guys that are just saying no, no, no? Or is it the rest of this crew who's just feeding this thing full of pork in the shadows?
Look, I mean, first of all, dealing with the Senate's a world of its own. But just inside the House, if the Freedom Caucus members, all of them, because the margin's so narrow, you can't give up anybody. If they would come together and say, we're going to pass a Republican-only, very strict, very tight continuing resolution, and they would get it out of the House with Republican-only votes, you could have a dramatically thinner, more practical, and less disgusting bill.
Speaker, you're saying if Republicans can't stick together now, and we're going into this 2 years where they have the House, the Senate, the White House, if they can't stick together on something like this, with all this momentum, everyone's in a good mood. I was in a great mood. Mar-a-Lago's in a great mood. The markets, well, until today were. But they're ruining the momentum right now, Republicans, right?
Well, welcome to the American Constitution. I mean, the Founding Fathers divided power up, and when you can make speeches all you want, you got to get the votes. President Trump and Ramaswamy and Musk and others are going to have to go and work the Republican conference, get them to understand they need 100% on every key vote, period. And that's just the price of doing it. And then strip out all the garbage.
What if they just go to a retreat?
The Democrats.
You guys have your retreats, right? You go to like some fancy hotel and you all get drunk.
Look, I'd go to a retreat in HC5 in the Capitol, and I wouldn't let people out till they all said yes.
Right. Why can't he get a little Republican summit together, lock the doors, serve drinks, make some threats, do some horse trading, say, I need everybody in for the next 2 years. I don't want to hear any garbage out of anybody, or else I'm gonna do something, which I can't say. Why can't that work?
Look.
Do they need to bring you in there?
I think if Speaker Johnson could convince President Trump and Vice President Vance and Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy to come up and literally have an all day long, let's sit in the room together with all the Republicans. Now let's everybody agree we're going to do the best we can with a dramatically thinned down thing. If they can't do that, frankly, I think they ought to pass a clean CR, have nothing on it except keep the government open for 30 or 40 days until the Republicans gain control of the Senate.
Yeah.
But frankly, if you got to negotiate with Chuck Schumer, and by the way, you'll notice that President Biden is nowhere to be seen.
Nowhere
He's gone.
to be seen.
The functioning president of the United States today is Donald Trump because the other guy left.
All right, well, then Trump's got to knock some heads together because it looks like they're going to throw Johnson overboard. And, you know, I want to have a good January. And I'm not pro-Johnson, not Johnson. I don't care.
Well,
I just want action.
Let me just say, Jesse, let me just say, I'm very pro-Johnson. I can't imagine what he goes through with a 1 or 2 or 3 vote majority.
Oh, it's an impossible job. I don't know why he wanted the job. It's a crazy job. You're crazy for taking it. It worked out for you because you shut the government down a couple times. So
Yeah,
good.
shut it
But no
down.
one wants to do that anymore. And now look where we are. McCarthy's out. Johnson could be out. They're going to have to bring you out of retirement. I'm going to lose a guest. It's not going to be good for everybody. Speaker Gingrich.
Guys, I'm telling you, the things keep coming out. So Trump world is gleeful about the events that transpired on X in DC yesterday. He said, Elon Musk, this is what Trump said. Elon Musk single-handedly sank a 1,547-page bipartisan House spending bill. That sucker wasn't bipartisan whatsoever. Also, Trump source says that Trump said this is the new playbook. GOP got instant and overwhelming feedback before it had to be slowly funneled through conservative press. Now there is a megaphone. X is the megaphone. YouTubers are the megaphone. Guys, I'm telling you, what is coming out now, and even with Rand Paul suggesting that Mike Johnson be replaced with Elon Musk as Speaker of the House, more things are coming out. Johnson's speakership hangs in the balance as spending deal collapses. A lot of people are saying this dude needs to go, and we need a new man in charge who's going to follow the MAGA way. Because Mike Johnson made deals with the Democrats to censor Americans behind Republicans' back. And now all this is coming out, guys. We have never had this much transparency in the history of America. And what I love what you're about to see next, guys. Let's go.
The other piece of good news is Donald Trump, Elon Musk, J.D. Vance, and others shut down this absolute sandwich of a CR last night, this continuing resolution. Folks, I'm sorry. We are not falling for this again. That's the title of today's show. I'm done with it. I'm tired of it. I'll address it today at the end of my radio show, so you leave with it. Folks in the chat, tell me if I'm crazy here. I need your feedback on this. This is important. I am a realpolitik guy. Don't mistake my passion for topics and my emotion, I don't want to sound ridiculous, for a lack of pragmatism. I understand there is a math business up on Capitol Hill where you need certain votes. What I don't understand is we currently have a majority in the House of Representatives, meaning the Democrats have to come to us. That's what a majority is. Why would we shove a shit sandwich bill down America's throat that does nothing to cut spending? I mean, unbelievably, finances a censorship operation out of the State Department, gives Congress a pay raise, deals with like the transfer of a football stadium. You're telling us this is such a pressing thing, and then you're freaking.
Look, I'm sorry to interrupt, but do you realize that 100% it was in the dang bill to use taxpayer money to build a football stadium in Washington, D.C.? What the heck? What are they thinking, guys? This is so mind-blowing. The NFL is a multi-billion-dollar conglomerate, and they want to use taxpayer dollars to build a stupid stadium on our watch while we're $36 trillion in debt.
So, oh my gosh, the government's going to close that. It's not our freaking fault. You guys had a year to work on this thing and are now stuck in a sandwich at the end. We paid you to get, conservative spending bills across, and you didn't do anything. I don't want my point to get lost here. The point is this. If you had at least a little bit of success over the past 30 years, Republicans in Congress saying, hey, we're not going to fight this fight now, but we'll fight it next time, we would say, okay, maybe we agree to this bull. I wouldn't, but maybe we'll agree to it until March. Then when Trump gets in, we'll go back and we'll cut some spending. The problem everybody has is you guys just keep telling us this, and you never actually do anything, ever. The most unforgivable piece of this spending bill that should have never, ever been agreed to was this global engagement center thing from the State Department. You understand if you've been screwed over by a fact check, you were kicked off Twitter before Elon, or any of this other stuff, do you understand that was largely due to operations like the Global Engagement Center at the State Department? Why the hell would Republicans in Congress agree to fund this thing? Oh, look, we have the answer. Gabe Kaminsky, who's a pretty good reporter. This is a really long tweet. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But a lot of people are pissed off at the speaker for this.
Yes.
This isn't the kind of thing that slips through the cracks. Get used to it, Mr. Speaker and others. Twitter, the second this bill goes public, there are algorithms designed to pick this stuff out. Everybody knows what's in it. There's no hiding anymore. According to a congressional source familiar with the matter, the Global Engagement Center provision was a private demand from Senate Democrats in exchange for another provision Republicans want. So just to be clear, who thought this was a good idea? We're going to allow a State Department operation to be funded to censor conservatives because we wanted some tax cut? I love tax cuts. The Corporate Transparency Act is a disaster. I get it. But we're trading away people's civil liberties. We're not doing that. 2 points here. Number one, we as conservatives do not negotiate away civil liberties like free speech. I'm sorry. I don't know what you were thinking. We're paying you guys an exorbitant amount of money. You're getting your kissed by lobbyists all day to go and battle for civil liberties and the Constitution, not give them up. And second, but throw that up again at the end, please. They had a private demand for a deal. In other words, let us censor people through the State Department. Let us censor people through the State Department, and we'll give you this Corporate Transparency Act provision thing. The Democrats don't stick to deals anyway.
Nope.
Here, you need some evidence? Here are the receipts. The Democrats always give you the middle finger on deals. You read this Wall Street Journal article? So there was another deal, too, about judges retiring. I'm not going to go into the whole thing, but read this piece if you want to get pissed off. It's called Judges Unretire After Trump Wins. So it turns out Republicans cut a deal with Democrats that said, these liberal judges are going to retire. We will give you these Biden judicial nominees, but those judges are going to retire. So it was basically a zero sum. Well, look what happened. The Senate Republicans got played. They said okay to the Biden nominees, and all of a sudden the judges unretired. So to the Democrats and their bull deal for our First Amendment. And no, I'm not riling up the audience. I'm telling the audience the truth. And as I said to people, I earned this microphone, and the Bongino army earned their place out there too. And we're tired of this bullshit. You got to shut the government down until Trump gets in there, then shut it down. Even Newt Gingrich, who's not known as some big flamethrower, right? Even Newt Gingrich this morning, I retweeted it, said, listen, this is time for shock treatment. If the government's got to shut down to make this point that we're going bankrupt, then the government's got to shut down.
Boom, baby. Guys, everybody's fired up. This stuff that everybody's pulling out is 100% on par. We've never had this level of transparency. And this makes me feel, my heart is so gleeful right now because I'm telling you, we want to bring the truth, and we are able to because of everything that's on X. Trump says Speaker Johnson's handling of the spending bill was unacceptable. We have it where now there's a report that Thomas Massie says he will not vote for Johnson as Speaker after the spending bill. We have it where Rand Paul said the Speaker of the House need not be a member of Congress. Nothing would disrupt the swamp more than electing Elon Musk. Think about it. Nothing's impossible, not to mention the joy at seeing the collective establishment, aka Uniparty, lose their ever-loving minds. Guys, I'm telling you, I've never seen so many Democrats on X are crying. They're like, he's not even an elected member. He shouldn't be able to control Congress. No, he's not controlling anybody. He is showing transparency. We voted you in to do a certain job. Now do the dang job and quit screwing over Americans trying to waste our taxpayer dollars on whatever lobbyist took you out to eat at a nice steak dinner and took you to golf just so that they could get a bill in place. I'm telling you, every single true patriot is coming out on this. Check this out.
His reaction, Senator Josh Hawley. Senator, thank you for being with us. You know, I'm looking at this monstrosity. I went through a lot of these provisions, 1,550 pages. Nobody had time to read it. It's all because they don't want to do their job and pass budgets by October 1st, which is the deadline. And it's no surprise we find ourselves in this position. And if I'm Donald Trump, I don't want that debt ceiling during my term. This is Joe Biden's debt ceiling. race. It shouldn't be Donald Trump's. If Hakeem Jeffries doesn't want to come to a consensus, then shut it down. You know what? I think it's a misnomer that a government shutdown is the worst thing in the world. We survived a 30-plus day shutdown in 2019.
You know, Sean, this continuing resolution, whatever, it's a total joke. You're right. It is 1,500 pages of pork barrel spending. And worse than that, it's all the woke garbage. It's the censorship boards. They're getting funded in this. There's hundreds of millions of dollars for a recycling access center in this bill. I mean, it is a total offense. And you pointed out, there's also the pay raise for members of Congress. There's the Obamacare carve out for members of Congress. Here's the thing that really gets me. Republicans negotiated this. The Speaker of the House negotiated this bill. It is a total travesty. This has got to change, Sean. I mean, we cannot go on like this. And I hope that Republican leadership gets the message here, the message of this election, which is that people want change. They don't want this garbage. I'm a hard no on this thing. It is a joke. It is a travesty. And they need to go back to square one.
Well, it's the old swampy way of doing things. There's going to be a new sheriff in town. And when Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy want to cut $2 trillion in spending, I think they're serious about it. And I think Donald Trump is serious about that as well. There's going to be a lot of cuts, and the old way of doing things has to go away if you want to return and be transformational to constitutional order, limited government, greater freedom. Do we achieve that, or is this evidence that that's not going to be achievable, especially with the tight margins we have both in the House and Senate?
Well, you can't do it by doing business this way. I mean, this is the same old, same old. You talk about needing to cut all of that spending. Sean, this bill right here would add hundreds of billions of dollars to the deficit. And the worst part is it's all for dim priorities. Why would you saddle Donald Trump with this terrible spending bill before he even gets into office? And Sean, the worst part is it dumps it right back in his lap in March. In March, under this bill, they'd shut the government down again, have to do this all over again, have to raise the debt ceiling again later the same year. It's ridiculous. It's a horrible plan. I can't believe that Republican leadership ever cooked it up. Clearly, they didn't talk to Trump about it. And I tell you what, we need to have a serious look at who's leading this Congress, because if this is the best they can do, I mean, it's total incompetence. This is a disaster.
The best worst case scenario, considering they didn't do their job, would be a clean CR. Democrats say they won't support that. So we're at a standoff, right? I don't see any way out of that.
I think that's right. I mean, unless, listen, the government's going to shut down on Friday. And by the way, that was also the choice of Republican leadership. They could very well have done this and extended it longer, which is what Donald Trump wanted. They said, oh, no, we'll come back and do it in December. Why did they want to do it in December, Sean? So that they could force us up against the wall and try to get through all of their special projects and their pet projects and spending. And now they've been caught red-handed. And now they don't have a plan. Well, that's their fault. Mike Johnson and his crew need to figure this out. They need to do the right thing. And I tell you, this is not right. What they're trying to do is a disaster. They own this, then they need to fix it.
Oh, it's already dead on arrival. Senator Hawley, thank you. We appreciate it. All right.
Guys, let me tell you this. The biggest thing that we're seeing now is that they're fighting over the debt ceiling. Trump says you need to lift the debt ceiling. We need to not run into this, and it needs to be done under the Biden administration. Representative Nancy Mace came out. She said, shut it down. She stated this: for decades, Democrats and Republicans have engaged in massive, reckless spending. This cycle of fiscal abuse must come to an end. If we learned anything else from the November 5th election, we learned the American people don't want business as usual in Washington. Guys, we've never seen this. She said we need a complete and total reset. A 30-day government shutdown is a good place to start. We can pick this back up after Trump is sworn into office. Guys, this is big. Not only is there's people that are 100% against it, but I wanted to show you this. So this is like the most updated news of what's actually going on. Trump is issuing new spending bill demands. He wants to lift the actual debt ceiling. The GOP congressional source says that they are not in any closer to passing anything as talks continue. This was reported just 6 minutes ago, guys. I'm giving you the most breaking news as it's coming through. I believe we're heading towards a shutdown, and it may be a longer shutdown than most people anticipated. Dems are complaining that President Musk is running the show on GOP spending drama. No. Musk is actually doing what he's the voice for the American people. We're so tired of being screwed over by our politicians that we want to see accountability. We want to see people actually doing their dang job and making sure that Americans are not just footing the bill every single time that we get to a government shutdown and they just want to keep spending and putting crap in. Listen to this. This is straight from the floor, guys. There's things happening, and I'm pulling this stuff as fast as I can to show you what's happening on Congress as we speak.
Marcus joins me now. You don't support this spending bill, so can you tell me what happens next?
So I had come out against this bill 2 days ago, well before Elon Musk, and the reason was because of the process. And what happens next, we don't know, because there's a lack of communication from our leadership to the rank and file members. And that is part of the problem. That is part of the reason why there was so much opposition to this. Speaker made a deal with the Democrats, but didn't inform his constituency, us, the members of the conference, and allowed us to weigh in before doing the handshake. And that's why you saw this type of rebellion take place. I think members are very frustrated because either we would have a clean CR just continuing for the next 35 days or the next 3 months until we can get President Trump sworn in and we could do the work that the American people elected us to do and they spoke loudly about. Or if you're going to open up this CR, then at least fight for your own members' legislative priorities. And I don't see that happening from our leadership. What can we do for the individual members to help them score small legislative wins that don't cost money, that are non-controversial, to make everyone go home a winner in this process? Instead, so much was given to the Democrats, and we were left holding the bag. And so I don't know what actually happens next. I would love to see more communication between leadership and the members. But I think that if we can pass a clean CR and just postpone, fund the government until 3 months from now without any bells and whistles, that's fine by me.
Donald Trump says, President-elect Trump says, Speaker Johnson can, quote, easily continue as Speaker if he acts decisively and tough and gets rid of all the spending traps set by the Democrats. You think Johnson can do that, the Speaker?
Look, I think it's a difficult dynamic right now because you have these various factions within our conference that want different things. Some want a clean CR, some want us, if you're going to add anything to it, like the disaster aid and the supplemental for farmers, that it's paid for. And then you have others who, want to see legislative wins for their own districts. And so I think and this is the problem, when you don't have everyone in a room hashing this out and trying to figure out what is the common denominator, how do we move forward as a team and get this done, I think that's problematic. I mean, there's been more...
I mean, are you going to hold meetings today, this morning, to try and thrash something out?
You know what? Again, it's a very small group of leadership that is in the room doing this. The rank and file members have not been part of the process. They have not been informed. And we were duly elected members. We need to have a say in what the future is. This is how we got in this mess to begin with, by shaking hands with the Democrats and not first bringing what the agreement was to the membership for consideration and for approval. So I would simply say that, there needs to be a better system in place here of how leadership interacts with the rank and file members and work with us to see how we can score legislative wins that may not don't cost money and are not controversial.
Just doesn't make the Republican Party look good, does it?
It does. No, it does.
Guys, it's bringing transparency like never before. Thank you so much, Sherry Garcia, for the super chat. Let's go. Said, people, we need Elon on outside of Congress as Speaker. House Speaker, his hands would be tied. We need him riding through the election in 2 years in office. He cannot use this money against our enemies. Oh, that's a good point, Sherry. Y'all show Sherry some love in the chat. Donald Trump just posted this, guys. I'm telling you, it's all happening as we speak. This was 5 minutes ago. The very unpopular congressman from Texas, Chip Roy, these are Republicans, guys, is getting in the way as usual of having yet another great Republican victory, all for the sake of some cheap publicity for himself. Republican obstructionists have to be done away with. The Democrats are using them, and we can't let that happen. Our country is far better off closing up for a period of time than it is agreeing to the things that the Democrats want to force upon us. I agree. Biden is president and it's his obligation to properly lead. We're there to do the right thing, and we can't agree with that Biden and the Democrats are demanding. Weak and ineffective people like Chip have to be dismissed as being utterly unknowledgeable as to the ways of politics and as to making America great again. Put America first, go for the victory, even if it means shutting the government down for a period of time. We had an overwhelming victory just 4 weeks ago, and we're not going to let the Democrats forget it so quickly. Boom, baby. They're all on it, guys. They're not playing around. I wanted to show you this too, because this is now this is in the essence where things it all stems down to, because it's our freaking money. The biggest scam in life: paying taxes on the money you make, paying taxes on the money you spend, and paying taxes on the things you own that you already paid taxes on with the already taxed money. Guys, this right here is why people are so fed up, because they're so tired of our tax dollars being spent like it's nothing. No disregard for the average American person when they send billions of dollars. It was in there to send $3.3 billion to Egypt. For what? Billion, guys, not million, billion, guys. So here's another update of what's going on. Check this out. This is from Peter Ducey.
Those are really the two big things right now, because Donald Trump is involved now, but he was not really involved until things were really spiraling out of control yesterday. And it also kind of could redefine what Doge is. Because for the last couple weeks since the election, there's been a lot of excitement on Capitol Hill with lawmakers coming out and saying, we support Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy and this effort that they are going to help us do. That we're going to go through line by line with them and identify all this waste, and we're going to cut it, and they're going to be working with us. But that's not what it looks like, at least in this first iteration. It's not Elon Musk working with them. It's Elon Musk warning them that if they support bad plans, then he is going to use a bank account that is bigger than anybody else's in the world to fund primary challenges.
That's true.
Was there progress? Yes. It just depends on which one of those lanes you are rooting for.
Well, at least J.D. Vance's kids were still up to say goodnight to Dad in the pajamas. That's important.
Thanks,
Thank you, Peter. They're saying the spending package was just too unpopular because of its size. So if they're negotiating, they're probably asking to pull things out of the 1,500-page document or bill. There's 72 pages in there about pandemic preparedness and response. You always talk about how much money we have left over from the pandemic. So why do we need this? Renewal of the much criticized Global Engagement Center, a football stadium in D.C., a new bridge in Baltimore, a pay increase for Congress. And now we have to come up with a new bill. The Speaker's vote is on January 3rd, and there are 434 members to start this new Congress, and Johnson's going to need 218 votes.
Yeah,
so
Johnson Ainsley is probably toast at this point. And all that stuff that you see on the screen right there, there are two things that this Congress has got to fund. They've got to fund disaster relief, and they've got to fund the Farm Bill. And so the Democrats said, okay, we'll give you $100 billion for the Farm Bill, Mr. Speaker, but we're going to have to get all this other stuff. And that's why Doge goes, hey, wait a minute, we're all about saving money, and you can't just start writing checks willy-nilly.
But they're not in power yet. I mean, this is not Donald Trump's White House yet. So I don't know how much power they think Speaker Johnson has.
Well, he's got the majority.
Right, but he's got a majority, but he doesn't have the Senate, he doesn't have the White House.
Lawrence,
so he's got a slight advantage.
Look at this last one. It was up on your screen. Look at this last one. Spending $3 million to test the inspection of molasses.
It shouldn't be in the bill.
What the heck?
It should not be in the bill. They need a clean bill. The thing that is concerning, and I talked about our conversation with the president, the president-elect yesterday, and his concerns about it. John Kennedy says, when I interviewed him last hour,
oh yeah, you should play
that. He's the only person that the president-elect can get the full House on board. He also had this to say.
I knew as soon as I saw the bill there was going to be trouble. The thing was as big as a Costco. This can be fixed. Here's what, if I were king for a day, I'm not, and I don't aspire to be, here's what I'd do. First, I would tell everybody to take their meds. Number two, I think President Trump is going to have to consider coming to Washington. I mean, let's face it, he's the president now. It's not President Biden. President Trump needs to sit down with Mike Johnson and John Thune and come up with a new skinny CR.
That's the big question. Is the president-elect, you guys know what I'm going to be doing after the show, reaching out to sources about that. Is he going to take a trip to Washington and get the full House?
Well, he
on board?
can pick up the phone. When we were talking to Speaker Johnson yesterday, we made it very clear, because everybody knows this, because there were so many Republicans who were so hacked off about all that extra largesse in that particular bill. The only way Speaker Johnson could drag it across the finish line was with dozens of Democrats. Now, going forward, Donald Trump wants to extend the debt limitations. And what that's going to require is not a 50 majority, it's a 60% majority, because it's got to be a brand new bill. And there's going to be zero buy-in from Democrats, because Democrats don't want to help the Republicans.
But Steve, only if the Democrats get something. So
Right.
they're going to. So that's
DCR, they get nothing.
But right now, what I think that Elon Musk is missing, even though he's a genius of business, is Democrats have a say in this, like his shareholders to a degree, but he's still the most valuable person in every company he owns. So he has to understand, too, no matter what they hatched out last night, it's got to go past a Democratic majority Senate.
But Brian, you're right. This is the Republican version of the bill.
Yeah.
Why does the Republican version already have this amount of pork before it even goes over to the Senate? It's only going to get worse. This is the Republican version of the bill.
Yeah.
This is not even the agreed portion from the Senate. And it already looks bad.
Chad Pergram said there are three options. Number one, a clean CR to fund the government with nothing attached.
Right.
Number two, a bill that re-ups current funding with disaster aid. And number three, what Trump has requested, do they attach the debt ceiling suspension?
Right.
Stay tuned.
Speaker was in contact with Elon.
Guys, I'm telling you, like, they're all in on it. We just got a video of Vance, who is now, they're all there. And they're all like, what's going on? What's happening? Listen to this.
Should Speaker Johnson be reelected? Would you support a clean CR?
Well, what the president believes is we should support a clean CR so long as it contains a debt limit increase. That's the position of the president.
All right, real quick, if you didn't hear that, Donald Trump wants a debt limit increase, but he wants it on Biden administration, not on his.
That's what we're going to try to push for.
Are you supporting a government shutdown then?
Have a good night, guys. Thanks.
Can you speak to Speaker Johnson directly? Did you communicate this
announcement? Be reelected, Mr. Vance.
Yeah, look at that. They want a clean CR and they want the debt limit increase. Listen to this. This is what Thomas Massey put out. Now conservatives are claiming for a clean CR and a debt limit increase. Isn't that what Speaker McCarthy was vacated for? Guys, I'm telling you, there is so much going on right now. It is nuts. I want to see real quick, because remember, the demands right now are that they want a debt limit. Trump wants a debt limit increase done under the Biden administration. And again, there's no update right now, but they're not moving forward. It says GOP congressional source says that they are not any closer to passing anything as talks continue. Guys, they're going to shut this thing down. I 100% think it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Mr. Norby, thank you so much again for the super chat. Let's go. He said, I'm so PO'd that the people of America should never be lied to from our government. We need to take the country back in full and return it for the people of the USA. Shut the government down. Just keep the lights on till Trump is president. 100%. Y'all show Mr. Norby some love in the chat, guys. I'm telling you. What, like, the things that are coming out now, what you're about to hear next, it's like Elon Musk is revealing all the rhinos that are in government right now. Every single one of them, and I'm going to show you a video in just a second, are getting revealed, and Trump is calling them out, saying they need to be primaried ASAP. Listen to this.
Very own Chad Pergram is with us. Chad, you know, you set out to internally within Fox what we call the Hitchhiker's Guide to All Things Chad. And why don't you just give a brief summary of what's going on behind the scenes and how this bill was expected to be passed by now, and these members thought they'd probably be on a plane home, or they might even have arrived home, depending where they live.
Well, Sean, good evening. It was interesting that Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, he wanted a drama-free Christmas time here, and that's what he set out to do back in the fall. He was trying not to have some sort of a conflict at the Christmas holiday here, and that's exactly what he got. They started to add these other provisions into the bill, something that we caught on to earlier this week. They were putting about $10–11 billion into the bill to help with agriculture assistance. That's something that people said, all right, if that's going to be on the bill, we want something else to be in the bill. And House Speaker Mike Johnson, as this bill continued to grow, he was trying to sell this morning on Fox and Friends. And when they got into the details of the bill after releasing it earlier today, people said, you know, the pay raise, RFK Stadium, healthcare provisions, all this stuff, we don't want that. And kind of the death knell was what happened when Elon Musk sent out the post on X saying every single member who votes for this should be defeated in 2 years. And that's where you started to see significant attrition in real time to this bill. And they just didn't have the votes unless they were going to pass this with virtually all Democrats and maybe a handful of Republicans. What this was really about, though, Mike Johnson pulling this bill, is he has to stand for Speaker of the House on January 3rd. You always hear me say it. It's about the math. And he was very concerned about trying to get the balance in this bill right so he would court certain members from the Republican conference to vote for him on January 3rd. He's going to start at 219 members on January 3rd. The magic number to be elected Speaker is 218. And it was said to me a couple of days ago that people thought that this would probably go to at least a second or third ballot no matter what. We might be in for a repeat of what happened with Kevin McCarthy in January of 2023. Now, a couple of things have just happened in the past few minutes. J.D. Vance, the vice president-elect, is in the Speaker's office about 45, 50 feet down the way here.
Wow.
He's meeting with Speaker Johnson. He's also meeting with Steve Scalise, the House Majority Leader. And Steve Scalise said going into the meeting, quote, we have some good ideas on the table. Tom Cole, the Republican congressman from Oklahoma, who is the chairman of the Appropriations Committee, he just walked into that meeting as well. They're in charge of this spending bill. Now, what happens if they just do a clean bill? Well, will they have the votes to pass that? That is unclear. They've had to go to Democrats. Republicans have had to rely on Democrats to carry almost every bottle of water on every major bill in this Congress. And Democrats and Hakeem Jeffries stood right in this spot about 3 hours ago and basically said, we negotiated a deal. We're happy to help with that, but you're reneging on this deal, and we're not going to help. And you can see where Democrats might push back from the table. And so Republicans right now are trying to figure out what President-elect Trump wants, what J.D. Vance wants. Can they do a clean bill? Can they add in the debt ceiling? Well, there's a number of conservatives in the House who won't vote for any clean CR. They just are opposed to interim spending bills, number one. Number two, they're also opposed to lifting the debt ceiling. Okay, so where do the votes come for this? You cannot change the Newtonian physics of Congress. Here's the other thing. Let's say they do come up with a new bill. Are they going to adhere to the 3-day rule where they have to post that bill? Probably not till, at this stage, the earliest would be tomorrow. Well, that gets you past a government shutdown. Government funding expires at 11:59 p.m. on Friday. So right now, they're already past that. Here's the other thing I would point out, and this is something that several Republicans were very frustrated about. They noted, they're supporters of President Trump, but they noted that, he didn't weigh in on this bill until the last minute. This bill, whether you like it or not, was pretty much cooked up just a couple of days ago. This is very similar to what happened in 2019, where you had a bill that supposedly had been negotiated by Mitch McConnell, then the Majority Leader, Richard Shelby, the chairman of the Appropriations Committee. They passed it in the Senate. You had senators in the back of the Senate chamber singing Christmas carols. This was just a couple of days before Christmas in 2019. And then President Trump weighed in and said he didn't like the bill, and the House killed it. And we had the longest government shutdown in history, more than 30 days. I'm not saying that it's going to be the same thing right now, but this is very similar with President-elect Trump weighing in at the very last minute. Sean?
When you go back, these old swampy ways that you're describing of how that business has been done in Washington, I think what a lot of people are going to be shocked with is those days are going to change and change dramatically. By the way, and government shutdown, and you know this, Chad, is a misnomer because essential services will continue.
Yep.
At 2019 shutdown, you mentioned that was 30 days, and guess what? The military kept up and running and protecting our country. Essential employees stayed on. People, if I recall correctly, even got back pay. Social Security checks go out, and Medicare stays up and open. But with that said, you did hit on the main, the crux of this, which is Republicans, in principle, many of them are against any CR altogether, any raising of the debt ceiling altogether. And, you know, on the debt ceiling part, and now you have Hakeem Jeffries saying he wouldn't even support a clean bill. He's claiming they had a deal.
That is crazy.
My guess is Christmas is going to come and Christmas is going to go, and they're going to be stuck there in D.C. Am I wrong?
Well, the challenge is, and the alternative would be to pass each of the individual spending bills. There are 12. They passed, 70% of those in the House of Representatives. The Senate has done none under Chuck Schumer, but the reason they haven't done all of them is they do not have the vote. So if you're going to fund the entirety of government and avoid a shutdown, you have to get both of those bills through the House and Senate. And they're not there right now, and that takes days and weeks. And so everybody was going toward this interim spending bill, this CR, which would run until the middle of March. And the whole premise here was to clear the deck for President-elect Trump. That's not going to happen if this shuts down over Christmas or gets into January, and you start the new Congress on January 3rd, and there's a fight over the speakership. Well, what does that do? That delays the beginning of the implementation of the Trump agenda because they have to vote on all of these things. There is no magic wand in Congress. They have to vote every single time, and if they can't get their act together on this, Sean, right now, what this does is it portends a very rough road in January, February, March, trying to get all of these things done. You know, they talk about doing budget reconciliation, where they put a bunch of these things together so they can bypass a filibuster in the Senate. You know what the problem is with that? You have to first produce a budget. Budgets are very hard to do. And if you're down to a 1 or 2 vote margin in the House of Representatives and you can't get a budget, you can talk about reconciliation until you are blue in the face. But if you don't have a budget, you cannot get to reconciliation to use that as a vehicle. So all this does potentially, if you have a fight over the speakership or anything else, it slows all that down in 2025.
You know what? Honestly, the fiscal year starts in October. So let's be real here. If we don't return to regular order and they don't pass their budget, they never pass it on time, they're now reaping what they sow. Their chickens have come home to roost. Use whatever analogy you want. Chad Pergram, it's going to be an interesting 48 hours and beyond, it looks like. Thank you, sir.
Guys, I'm telling you, like, the world is shifting right now because of Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Vivek Ramaswamy and JD Vance. Jeff is the truth. Thank you so much for the support. Let's go. He said, Joel, I appreciate all the news you're bringing us. 100%. Y'all show Jeff some love in the chat. Guys, this has come out this morning. Ukrainian President Zelensky says he wants U.S. President-elect Trump to help end Ukraine's war with Russia. Remember, Trump said, if you don't come to the table, you're not getting any more aid. We also have it where the White House took steps to conceal Biden's decline. Guys, these things are being leaked out right now. I mean, why would it be leaked out now? What is they trying to do? There's like searches and things that showing Biden's impeachment, things like that. But they took steps to conceal Biden's decline, limiting interaction and putting senior advisors in roles that some administration officials believe Biden should occupy. We also have it where Mexico says it's ready to receive Mexicans deported from the United States by President-elect Trump. Everybody is shifting because of the Dream Team. We've never seen so much movement like this, and it's all because you have people that have a backbone that are not going to move away from MAGA, making America great again, putting American people first, and making sure that we're not getting continuously screwed over by elitists, by politicians like we always done. Guys, they tried to do it again. They literally sent the bill yesterday. They got it, and they literally tried to pass a 1,500-page bill in 2 days so that everybody could go to Christmas, and that was the threat. They tried to hold them hostage. It's not happening. Elon Musk is not going to let it happen. X is not going to let it happen. You got too many people that are tired of this corruptness that say it's not going to happen. I want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button right now so I can serve you like this every day with the top news, Monday through Friday, 2 shows a day, and 1 show on Saturday, 1 show on Sunday. And if you haven't hit the thumbs up like button, guys, we're so close to 1,000 likes. Let's please do it, guys. We got 2,300 people watching. This is amazing. I appreciate all your support. Guys, remember, this Saturday, we're doing our biggest donation ever on this channel. We give every single month to a big charity, and we give back. So we are not just bringing you the news. We are bringing a positive change in this world through the super chats and donations. And this charity we're giving to it Saturday is going to be our biggest one ever. And I want to give some shout outs to Mr. Tracy J. Norby, Sherry Garcia, Jeff is the Truth. Y'all showed them some love in the chat. Right now, what we're seeing is the truth like never before. Doge is bringing the truth. Elon Musk, Trump, JD Vance, Vivek Ramaswamy, RFK, Tulsi Gabbard, Nancy Mace, so many, Thomas Massey are calling it out. Nobody's afraid anymore to call out what has been hidden from the American public for so long. And today, and we're seeing it right before our eyes. I love you all, appreciate your support, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.